If you are convinced about your idea, you are passionate about something, then I think it becomes easy to convince others, especially your parents.
In today's episode, we have Sahi Chugh with us, who has been the co-founder of WebScoot, and he has traveled around the world, spoken at a lot of conferences, and hosted a lot of events, and made sure his company's name is felt throughout the globe. These guys are building one of the largest web platform for e-commerce companies.
You have to put in a lot of hard work. There have been days where I have worked 36 hours straight.
Let's hear how he has built this company in last decade. So Sahil, behind the scene, you mentioned to me that you are an accidental entrepreneur. Could you talk more about it?
So I never thought of, running a business. I come from a family of, people where everyone was doing job. My father was in a bank. My mother was in government office. My sisters were doing private jobs. I was in third year of college when I wanted an extra source of pocket money, you can say. And a friend told me that a common friend was starting a business and he needed help with the stuff. So at that time, I just started it like that, didn't really, thought that it would become a successful business or something. But the business started doing well. Later on, I became a co-founder and partner in that company. And so that is how it happened.
Amazing. And while you were, on the job for maybe initial few months, and you mentioned you didn't take it much seriously.
Yeah.
But the vigor and the passion with which you were doing things, how were those things like? And were they of your natural inclination, or you just came out of it?
So I am a hardworking guy by default. That is in my DNA.
We're Indians. Yeah.
So even though I did not have any idea about how a business is done or even the technology side of things in the starting, but because I was ready to put in that effort, I learned things, and that is how I was able to. And I not just hardworking. I have that empathetic side also, so I can relate with the problems that clients faced. So I could relate to those problems, and I could put in extra work to compensate for my skills, I can say.
And when you look back, and I think you've seen the bad side and the good side of entrepreneurship. I think now it's 15 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Almost, yeah.
1.5 decades of utmost passion and utmost devotion to build a successful business. Now, if you look back, what were the key pivotal moments you see that lead you to here? It could be a quality, it could be a character, it could be anything.
So I think the most important thing is to first be convinced yourself that what you're doing is right for you. You can grow in that field. Then the next thing is to convince your parents, I think. Because Indian parents are very protective, They don't want you to take risks, experiment with things and fail. They want you to do the traditional things. When I started doing this stuff and my college got over, they wanted me to take a job or pursue MBA. But since I was convinced myself that what I'm doing is a good thing and I can, grow this much faster than, doing a 9-to-5 job, I had to convince them, and it was a tough job. Because all the relatives and all were like, you are so good in studies, you should do an MBA, you should do this, you should do that. So at that point, your parents are also, not on your side. Because again, that risk thing is a little tricky. So that is, I think, one thing that is pivotal, because I was able to convince them. So things changed, and after a certain point of time, when they also see what you're doing is actually not just for time pass, it's actually bringing in the money, and it is helping those clients that you are working with. Then they also, again, they are your parents, they come on your side. But initially, they are a bit hesitant and all.
So I see this as the faith that you had in yourself outlasted, I think, the results and the initial doubt that people had, your relatives and your family had in you. Now, if somebody probably were at your shoes now, where you were in 2009, what would you suggest them how to go about this situation? I'm sure a lot of people are.
If you are convinced about your idea, you are passionate about something, then I think it becomes easy to convince others, especially your parents. Okay, so
Right.
if you genuinely believe in an idea, then I think you must pursue it. And if you can, afford to fail. I mean, in India, it is not many families are privileged enough to, to allow you to experiment with things and then fail, because they want you to be in that, again, the protective 9 to 5 environment where, you do your job, you get your salary on time.
Yeah.
So,
And what are some harsh realities that people seeking entrepreneurship or people building businesses, they think that, drives a good car and whatever. What are those tough things that people don't look at while starting their business? What were those things for you?
I mean, you have to put in a lot of hard work. I mean, there have been days where I have worked 36 hours straight. You have to be flexible to do all the things. I mean, your team may or may not be available, but you have to be there to ensure that the commitment that you promise to your clients is being fulfilled. People usually see, after the person has become successful, but there is no such thing as an overnight success. It takes 5, 10, 15, 20 years for people to become overnight successful, is what I think. Yeah.
Amazing. Very well said and very well spoken. The perspective where all of us needs to embrace the reality of how the business is going to be like. Now, if young people were to build businesses like what you have built already, what would be those 3 tactical advice that you will give them in the initial journey that they can right now imbibe on as lessons that would save a lot of headache that you had gone through? Probably your learnings.
I mean, be empathetic towards your audience or customers always.
Yeah.
Hard work, there is no substitute for hard work. I mean, you can't really think that you'll start a business and, from day one you'll be getting money and you don't have to, do anything for that. Just looking at the Instagram profile of someone else. And what else? You need hard work, empathy. I think, and never give up attitude. If you are really passionate about something, then you must have that, you have to pivot, you have to change things, you have to,
evolve.
Yeah, you have to evolve your business models constantly based on data, analytics, what all you have learned. That is very important.
So, Sahil, now being on the successful side, if you look back, the 3 things that you think has played a pivotal role in your success, what would those 3 things be?
I think the number one most important thing is hard work. There is no substitute for hard work. You have to be ready to put in long hours. You have to be ready to do every sort of stuff. I mean, you can be your office boy, you can be your driver, you have to do all sort of things. I think then customer empathy. You should understand what the pain points of your customers or the audiences are. Then you are able to better relate with their problems and find solutions for them. And I think the third one is a never give up attitude. You should adapt, you should pivot, you should change based on your data, based on what all experiences you have and all the, learnings you have based on that. But if you're passionate about something, just don't give up on that idea, is what I think.
Amazing perspective. One thing that catches my eyes in these 3 points is the empathy side of things. Could you talk more about it? How do we practice empathy? Because it's very difficult in times when we are talking to our colleagues, talking to our team, talking to our juniors, talking to our customers. We tend to be, at least I tend to be very transactional because it's just, I have a lot of things to do. And I'm like, guys, let's just do X, Y, Z and I don't have time to listen to you.
For me, it was easy because I am empathetic by nature, by design. And I think that flows with the team, within the team. It comes into the culture of the company. If the founder is empathetic, you people see you doing things. If some XYZ thing is happening and you will react to it empathetically, they know that is how the company works. So that flows within the team, and that actually builds the culture. like that, I think.
Could you speak about how, like, you said that you are empathetic by design. Now, this design will have repercussions while you're building your company and your culture. What are those things that you get to experience that maybe I am missing or most of the folks are missing?
So you want to talk about the negative side of the empathy?
No, the positive side of things actually.
Positive.
Because you see, when these things trickle down into something big, that's how everything is in life, right? And this being empathetic within your team would have some ripple effect in terms of how they behave, how they do their work. Could you talk more about what you get to witness?
So again, if a customer comes up with a problem, rather than just being a support executive thinking, I have to solve that problem, you have to feel that if he's facing so-and-so problem, then so basically it is genuinely affecting his business. Even 2 minutes of downtime, for example, for an e-commerce company it's huge. He's losing sales. So that our engineers experience that pain that the customer is going through, and so they are able to work more efficiently and more rather than thinking it as a task they have to do. It becomes about solving problems and ensuring that customer is happy.
Do you see being empathetic also gives you a little more energy to solve a problem? Do you think that's
I think so. Because the more you can relate, the more you are eager to solve the problem, because you can understand the pain point. You know that if something is happening, something is not right with so and so the client's website, then they are genuinely facing a problem and not just creating a hassle for you, opening another ticket, for example. So that gives you the energy also. Yes.
Interesting. Could you talk about WebScoot, how you are building it and how is it like at your company?
So WebScoot is basically a managed cloud hosting company. We help businesses harness the power of cloud computing. Companies can outsource the requirements of cloud and hosting. They don't need to build an in-house team for that. Every day there are new technologies emerging in this field, AI, ML, all those things. We are there to incorporate in their business practices. So I started in this industry in 2010, and with all my learnings and all the mistakes and the failures, in 2019 we started WebScoot, and I'm fortunate enough to have some co-founders, you can say, that helped me build it. The journey has been really good. Things have worked in our favor. We were lucky enough, and that's how it is.
Amazing. What is the team like? I mean, how many people do you have? How are you building it? How do you hire?
So we became a completely remote company in 2020 after COVID happened. We are around 24-25 people right now. And apart from like 4 or 5 people who live in the Delhi NCR region, most of the team is remote. So someone is working from Rajasthan, people are working from UP, people are working from Maharashtra, even Kerala. I mean, people, they want flexibility, especially after COVID. What happened is people moved to their, hometowns, and then they started saving on all the costs of, rentals and eating out. So plus the family time that they started getting, that became a non-negotiable for them. And we also noticed that, it was not affecting the performance by, a huge margin. So we were ready to take that trade-off where we can, see a little drop in performance, but people are more, they stay near to their families, they spend time with them, they save on all those costs. So it was a good trade-off.
Looks like you're a believer of work from remote or work from home. I think also we mentioned that you mentioned that you got to speak at a conference in California where you spoke about working remotely before the entire charade of COVID happened. Could you talk more about that?
Yeah. So the topic of my talk was remote work only.
And this was 2019.
This was early 2020 when COVID had, like, when I got the opportunity for speaking, that COVID had not happened. But the conference happened when COVID had happened.
Okay.
So I spoke when actually in March 2020 where COVID had struck. But At that time, we were not remote.
Were there attendees in the event?
Yeah, there were attendees in the
Yeah, okay.
but a lot of conferences during, nearby that date got cancelled because of that. But yeah, the talk I was supposed to give, there were people, fortunately.
You spoke about this a little bit of leverage which people have, that the drop in performance, I think you mentioned.
Yeah.
What is that all about? What is it that you have observed?
So basically, when you're sitting at home, there are distractions.
Yeah.
You are working, people, your family is nearby, maybe you have kids. So it's not a perfect working environment. So that is why it's human. I mean, if I'm also working from home, I know, I will have distractions. My mother will come, ask me, you want something, something, the phone will ring. So we understand that. I mean, that is fine, as long as that is not affecting your, the outcome of your performance.
So I think this is my observation as well. I see a lot of performance drop when people work from home. So how does this become a thing that you deal with?
So for technical team, we have metrics that we track. It is not about for technical team, they also have to follow, time schedules. I mean, we are not very flexible for the technical team because, again, that is the core of our business. So we have metrics to track the performances, ticket SLAs, how much time, a ticket comes, what is the response time, what is the resolution time, which engineer is spending how much time, if they're coming on time, if they're leaving on time, all those things. But yeah, for the rest of the team, like marketing, sales, accounts, we are very flexible, and ultimately the outcome matters, not the number of hours, as we discussed. Yeah.
You have built this team. Do you have some kind of hiring philosophy or a framework or a scorecard for your hiring activities?
Yeah, so all the experience really helps. You know what you are actually looking for and where to find such profiles. It really helps. For hiring part, I try to do it myself. Still. Because that is very important, because a wrong hire can do a lot of harm. If you don't hire, then it's still fine, but a wrong hire will harm the culture of the company also. If he starts coming late, for example, if he starts, he doesn't show that empathy we're talking about to clients, then the new members of the team will also, try to see that if he's not doing, there's a possibility he's doing right, I will also not do it, because that makes my life easier. So I try to do hiring myself. I mean, I take help, but still, I mean, the headhunting part or the shortlisting part is what I try to do myself.
When you are having these conversations with the potential hires, do you keep certain tactical approach, or it's all about having a conversation, you're just checking out the vibe? How is it like for you?
So it's basically a mix of both. We have a set of questions that we ask.
It's a framework then? It's a solid framework.
It is a framework, but again, the discussion can lead, one thing can lead to another, but yeah, we have a framework. We have a set of questions that we ask specifically for the technical hires, because we have to judge the technical capability along with all the other things that we talk about, empathy or culture. Everything is important, but for technical side of things, we have to follow a framework that we have. We have assignments that we give. We have video interviews. So there are rounds, 3-4 rounds that we have to conduct.
So how do you enforce processes within the company, within your company?
So again, we have a set of rules and frameworks. And again, as I said, I have been fortunate enough to have some co-founders that are, they help me achieve all those frameworks. So for marketing, we have a certain, individual who is as good as I am. I mean, maybe better than me. So who takes care of everything. For technical side, I have a co-founder that takes care of everything, that all the frameworks are being ensured, all the policies are being met, all the SLAs are being ensured. So it is difficult, again, yes, but I have been fortunate enough to have team members who are able to do, and the team is also not huge. I mean, it's okay. It's an medium-sized business, which is, I mean, I can go and talk to everyone one-to-one. They know me, I know them. So that's why I think it is easy. But once you cross a certain threshold, 50 people, 100 people, then what you are saying, becomes more evident, the problems and following those frameworks.
So, Sahil, I saw this amazing photo of you, I think in Portugal. You were probably at Web Summit. Could you talk about how you got invited?
Yeah, so we were building a new business called Breeze at that time. The product was not even ready at that time. I applied, to Web Summit, and somehow we got shortlisted also. So yeah, we went there, we portrayed our startup there and got a lot of interest from people over there. And I think it helped a lot in the journey of that product. Yeah.
And how did you get these opportunities? I mean, attracting opportunities is something which everybody is after in life. Could you give your 2 cents on that?
Opportunity as in, with this Web Summit one.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe opportunities like Web
I
Summit.
can't create opportunities. Opportunities, you just know the market you are in, you know the kind of events that are happening, and you can just, take chances is what I can say. I mean, I also took a chance. I applied to that very well knowing that we will not be shortlisted because, I mean, we were just starting and the product was not even ready. But, we got shortlisted, we got the opportunity. We portrayed, people visited our booth and, we had a good time. Plus, we got some learnings and clients from there.
Okay. This particular instance of having that knack to apply or look at opportunities which you were not even sure you will get. But why do you still go about doing things which you think that are not going to work out? Is it that do you think trying sheer XYZ things would work out, or how is it like for you?
If you don't try, you will not get in. That is very simple. So you have to take chances. If you are running a business, you have to think of different ways to, grow your customer base. You have to experiment with things. Even if you think you won't get in, you have to try. I mean, if you get in, take those chances. That is what I can say.
So we have a very important saying, and there's this wonderful book called Traction, which talks about testing those 19 traction channels, like one of them for you being maybe events or cold outreach, SEOs of the day and whatever. And for most companies, they actually fail because they didn't survive enough to test enough traction channels, or they didn't try one traction channel in the most feasible way that it works out. Moving on, traction happens because you do a lot of things. Off camera, we spoke about rest also being an essential element to getting traction. Could you talk about your philosophy behind rest and how?
Yeah, so I believe that, you have to work hard and party harder. So I like traveling a lot. I think that helps me as a person, gives me a new perspective. You meet new people, you get to experience their, culture, their traditions. And when you're standing in front of a huge ocean, you're standing, for example, on Great Barrier Reef, you're looking at those corals, you're looking at that sea life, the stingrays, it humbles you, that you are a very small part of, this universe, and, that experience humbles you. Plus, I think it helps you, your brain, refresh. So I think it could be anything. I mean, you could be sitting in your drawing room reading about that can help you, refresh. So, but you should have something that, gives you that peace of mind, not just work. I mean, it is important, but you can't be doing, after a certain point of time, you can't be doing work for 24 hours. Initially, you have to.
Sahil, I call them soul trips. After some time taking a break to going to places which you love or doing things which you love. What role you think these soul trips have played for you in terms of your business as a direct impact? Have you seen some impact while you started taking this?
Definitely. I mean, as I said, it gives you a new perspective. You meet new people. You understand how, businesses work in that particular region or country. How easy it is to penetrate that market. What are the opportunities? So apart from just, a break, these trips also help me, get a new perspective of those specific markets. So, for example, if we talk about Australia or New Zealand, that region is very, they give a lot of importance to giving business to, local businesses. They will not easily outsource it to a country, for example, say India. So you understand those practices, those help you in taking better decisions is what I think. Yeah.
So while you're traveling for your soul trips, you're also learning more about business. Is that so? And I'm sure you're a very well-traveled person. I think you've seen the entire globe, US, UK, at least what I know is the entire West side, Europe, UK, Australia side of things you've covered. Uh, what is it that you find most relaxing about, let's say, Europe, or which is your most go-to place or the place that you vibe with?
So I'm not sure if I vibe with, but since there are like too many countries in Europe, that is the region I've traveled the most. And I think I like being near water, is what I think. I like beaches. So all those, European locations have these beaches, fancy
Water,
beaches,
yeah.
clean beaches. So that is what I find, very calming, relaxing for me.
I think this is also a very key piece of information that water bodies helps you be at ease and be at it's very calming, right? So it is innate, a sense of calmness is there in human beings that actually helps you perform better. That's a fact. That's a scientific fact, right? And that's what I see is missing when we come to our country, right? Like we don't have water bodies. Have you seen water?
Because
No.
water, the only problem is, I think, cleanliness. And
We've not seen rivers here in our
yeah, so in Delhi, there is no river. But if you talk about India, there are a lot of places where you can go to Uttarakhand, there's Rishikesh, there's Kerala. There are places, but again, the only problem is, I think, cleanliness, and people, are not very disciplined to, that is the only negative, I think. Naturally, the country has great landscapes.
So, Sahil, I also believe the rest is the basis of traction for businesses. How have you gotten traction for your business so far in terms of getting customers?
Various channels. One important channel is partners. I mean, we do not do design and development. So that is one thing where, we are very clear. We are not entering a design and development thing. So we have made those kind of companies as our partners. So they give us business, and we also in turn give them business, because since we are not doing design and development, our clients sometimes need that, and we refer those companies. Those companies need, a trusted managed hosting partner. So they refer business to us. Apart from that, we have cold emails, but those are targeted cold emails. I mean, we identify the platforms for which we call ourselves an expert. We identify people using those platforms, and then we reach out to them with a pitch of ours, because we know what kind of problems customers usually face. So we try to target them based on that. And we also do cold calls, but that is very limited, and we are still experimenting with that. And apart from that, marketing, we do events, we visit conferences for networking. We also sponsor some conferences in India.
And out of these few things, what do you think is the key channel that gives you the best ROI?
I think two channels are very important in our perspective. One is the partner channel, and the second one is cold emails. Those two have worked great for us.
There's a lot of people keep coming to me and saying cold emails don't work anymore. What do you have for those people? What do you want to say to these people?
You have to study the data. I mean, it depends on the kind of business. We are into B2B. So I think for B2B, it works. We have seen it. But again, it has to be, targeted. You just shoot an email to random 1 lakh people, it will not help. But if you target 1,000 people actually using, the technology or the platform for which you have better solutions, then definitely you will get, few of them will be facing those kind of problems, and they will reach out to us. And then it's on you, how you can close that deal, tell them about the, benefits they are getting, the price point.
Do you use a framework in terms of your email? Do you start with a pain point, or it's more towards how you sell, or like how do you solve a problem?
We try to, target them based on the pain points, which in our case will be either security or the website speed or the downtime or uptime that they are getting. Those are the primary factors that, clients have in mind.
Sahil, could you speak about your decision-making process? Because in my perception specifically, I think the quality of your decision is equal to the fruit that you bear from them. So how do you take good quality
So we
decisions?
try to follow data-driven decision making. It sounds like a fancy thing, but it's actually not. I'll give you a real life example. If you're doing marketing, for example, you have different channels. You have Twitter, you have Facebook, you have LinkedIn, you have Instagram. So you put in X amount of money in all, and then you have to see which one is, getting you more leads. And then you can accordingly, uh, give more funds to that medium. That is very, very basic approach that I can, discuss here. The ex-CEO of Netscape also said something like this. If we have data, then let's talk about data. And if we have only opinions, then let's go with mine. Okay, so if you have data, it's obviously very easy to take decisions because then you know what worked for you and what did not work. You can take decisions based on that.
That ties back to the first principle. Like you think from first principle, you take decisions from first principle.
I
if I'm
try
not
to.
wrong.
I mean, it's not very easy. We are not, I think humans are not very, tuned to think on first principle thinking. It is very difficult. Yeah. But I try to, yes.
Except being with the, maybe being within the team, solving problems which are more human, you can be empathetic and you can be human and have emotions. But I think towards the hardcore business decision, it should be based on numbers and facts, if I'm not mistaken.